Good afternoon, everybody. Sorry about the delay there for a minute. We had to get a few things situated. Welcome to our deep dive into the IntelliApp. We know your time is valuable, so we appreciate you being here and taking the time out of your day to join us. So this month, we wanted to shine the spotlight on the IntelliApp, our online mobile-friendly application that makes applying fast and easy for drivers. My name is Leah Kelly, and I'm here with Adam Vinson.
Hello, everyone.
He's one of our favorite sales and advisory people here at Tenstreet. He's going to be providing a live walkthrough in about 10 minutes, so you'll want to definitely stay tuned for that. But first, I'm going to just give you a quick review of all the amazing things that the IntelliApp currently does, just in case you weren't aware of it, and then talk more about some additional things that you can add on that you also might not be aware of. So to cover our obligatory housekeeping points, please know that the webinar will be recorded and sent to you within the next 24 hours. So don't worry if you get interrupted or have to jump off the call. You'll get a recording of this so you and your team can review it at your leisure at any point in the future. And it will also be hosted on our website as well. Additionally, feel free to submit your questions anytime throughout the presentation. You can do so using the text box under the questions section in your GoToWebinar panel. And if for some reason we're not able to get to them right away, we will be sure to address them at the end of the webinar, so you will get them answered. All right, just to kick things off, I wanted to start with a quote that we got. This is a quote from Lisa Redisil from BRT Incorporated, BR Trucking. She really hits on a key point of the efficiency that the IntelliApp's built-in functionality and automation gives you. So basically she's saying here, I'll let you guys can read it, but it says, the Tenstreet team is clearly dedicated to providing our candidates with a mobile application that is compliant, quick, and second to none, which helps us focus on building a great driving team and a stronger company. So that's a lot of what we talk about here, is just how much the IntelliApp and the things that you can add onto it make it a lot more efficient to your recruiting process. It gives you time to focus on what makes your company stronger and more successful. So as I said earlier, the IntelliApp makes applying to your company fast and easy for millions of drivers, which we all love. But what about all the things it does to help make your job and life easier? These things really are what helps our IntelliApp clients when busy January hits in a couple weeks. As you know, the new year always brings a great surge of drivers into the market as many drivers start looking for new companies that they can call home and new jobs where they can shine. So let's dive in and see how the IntelliApp helps us with this. So just an outline of what we're going to cover here. It looks like a lot because it does a lot, but they're all really pretty succinct points that I just want to hit on for all of our guests today before we go into Adam's demo. These points are all discussed in our two evergreen IntelliApp blogs too, so if you're an avid reader of the blog, this will all sound pretty familiar. So it's under the hood. We'll cover what the IntelliApp itself does independently. All of these features are included. And then next, we'll take a deeper dive into the additional services. I like to call them boosters, that can they can add on to your IntelliApp to really up its game and make your recruiting process, like we said, more efficient. All right, so I'm just going to hit on all these points on the left, and you can look at these stats on the right. These numbers are constantly changing. So this is the latest, the most recent that I was able to pull. So removing repetition. This is all about the auto population feature. It's the big star of the IntelliApp. As of today, 2/3 of applications submitted come in with some amount of pre-population. So it's a lot of repetition removed. It makes your company easier to work with, easier to apply to, easier to complete an application. So you may know, or I don't know if you knew, but if you don't know, traditionally only 13% of all paper applications result in a completed app, because drivers just hate having to hunt down information about previous employers, and they get annoyed entering a lot of DOT compliant information on a small mobile keyboard. But with the IntelliApp, over 75% of our pre-populated driver application sessions result in completed applications, which is a huge difference from 13 to 75. That means there's a lot of additional talent coming across your recruiter's desks every month. Mobile first, we talk a lot about this. Being mobile first, not simply mobile friendly, means we design it for the smallest screens first. And obviously it's for good reason, because we get over 75% of completed IntelliApps off of a mobile device, whether that's a tablet or a phone or anything. So overwhelmingly drivers live on the road and require the convenience of being able to fill out applications, there from their handy device like a cell phone. And so this is something that's really important to your recruiting process. So you don't want to lose sight of that. Our company database is the IntelliApp leverages a network effect that helps both drivers and recruiters save time and energy in many ways. One example is we have a database of carriers and actually of companies that contain 47,000 companies that can be selected as a previous employer by applicants. And this just means that they can drop, from a drop down, they can choose their previous employer, and it populates all of that employer's information into the driver's IntelliApp, which saves you time, ensures accuracy, and it also saves the driver time. And then whenever you go to request an employment verification and exchange, that also makes it very efficient, saves you time there too. Responsibly compliant. This is trucking companies know that having a compliant hiring process is crucial, but a lot of times it's hard to keep up with all the changes at the federal and state level. So the IntelliApp actually does all of this for you. It automatically adapts based on the latest in the box and pay equity laws. So for example, if you're seeking drivers in a ban-the-box state, all criminal questions, background questions are automatically removed from your IntelliApp, so that you're staying compliant there. And similarly, if a state you're hiring has adopted pay equity laws, those questions about compensation are removed as well. So it just keeps you in line with the law. Dual signature is we've just talking about compliance. We made it easy as possible for drivers to handle the DOT's requirement to provide multiple signatures, like is stated in the regs 390 and 391. So at the end of the application, drivers are able to quickly sign separately. They sign once for their application release and again for their drug and alcohol and employment releases. The heat map lets you know, or lets the driver know. It makes it easy for them to see what positions are available where they live. So you can add that screen if you don't have it currently. And if you don't have the IntelliApp at all, obviously you want to make sure that you add that screen in. It just makes it easier for drivers to apply for jobs that best suit their skills and are in their area. It's basically a map that shows you, that lights up the different states that you're hiring in. And minding the gap means that the IntelliApp has built-in DOT gap checking that cross-references the information that the drivers provided on the IntelliApp with prior information that they've included in previous applications, so you can detect gaps in employment. And then it also helps drivers save time in entering information and helps carriers in the event the drivers alter what information they show to different carriers. So it just makes the whole thing more transparent.
So, believe it or not, that's just the tip of the iceberg. When the IntelliApp joins forces with other Tenstreet services, it stands even stronger. These services and features that I'm about to go through now just help make your recruiting solution more efficient and allow you to focus on what makes your business grow. So I'm just going to briefly hit on these before we get to Adam. If you're using Express, our applicant tracking system, then every driver's application data flows into the system automatically to create a new subject record or adds to an existing record if that driver has applied before. And so we can leverage this data that comes in from the application to create workflow rules that make tags, control routing, and score applications. Those are the first three topics. Tags are just attributes about a driver that can be used to help you determine how he fits into an organization, like a terminal or orientation location or any endorsements, Greyhound information, anything that you can think of. And then you can use these tags to search and report on. You can also automatically route your applicants to predefined work lists and recruiters, so you can ensure the right leads go to the right place. Routing also can be accomplished by state, by referral source, by work list, experience level, and more. And then another powerful feature of Express that allows you to create scoring rules to identify which applicants and which applications are coming from the most promising driver candidates. So with scoring, you can set point values to certain qualifications that help you see which subjects you should reach out to first. So applicants can be scored on experience, number of accidents or incidents, an answer to a custom question, location, license, endorsement types, and then more as well. So the next 4 services that we have listed here are all services that can be added to your IntelliApp at an additional cost. We'll start with landing pages. That's a service that combines your marketing content and it just projects the best version of your marketing message to win over your candidates. Basically, this would just be a lead form that leverages the power of auto-population, and it gives your candidates the ability to upgrade to a full IntelliApp once they complete the lead form. After the driver is identified by our pre-population, it will ask them to say, hey, you were identified, we've seen you before, would you like to complete a full application? And then it will take them to your full IntelliApp where they can complete that. That conversion happens, I think it's about 60% of the time. So it's something that you really want to utilize and take advantage of. One of our studies that we did actually showed that these two powerful features can help increase traditional landing page conversions by about 20%. The IntelliApp Now is a service that connects your recruiters and your candidates in real time, so recruiters are notified while the best candidates are filling out their applications. And this just allows for a great opportunity for you to connect with the driver before they have a chance to move on. So it will alert recruiters when a candidate meets an experience or violation or accident criteria that you set, so you can reach out to drivers before they even finish completing the application. There's a lot more to each of these services too. I'm just hitting the very top level, so if you want to learn more about any of them, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. And I'm going to supply a summary of services along with the recording that I send out to, so that you can read a little bit more about them too. Okay, so IntelliApp Stats, that's IntelliApp Statistics. It provides a lot of transparency on where applications are coming from through the use of pie charts, bar graphs, line graphs, and it lets you easily identify trends and make reliable predictions that enable you to better market to your applicants. So for example, it lets you discover where in the application drivers are most likely to drop out, which gives you new insight into how you can improve your process. And with continuation IntelliApp, your recruiters can be notified of drivers who simply they'll complete the first page of an application and then they'll just leave. But they're not gone forever. This service actually gives your recruiters an opportunity to reach out to those drivers and re-engage them so they can pick up where they left off. And if you want to add some automation here, you can go ahead and add a drip email marketing service campaign to this that engages these drivers automatically with a series of customized emails and texts, and that just frees up a lot of your recruiting resources. I realize I kind of swapped those last two, but that's okay. I'm sure you guys were following along. And so now I'm going to just see it. Let's all go take a look at it in action. So Adam, it's all you.
All right, guys. Again, this is Adam Benson. So this is what the IntelliApp looks like here on a mobile device, and this is typically how drivers are going to be filling out the application. Like Leah mentioned before, we work with over 1,800 carriers across the United States today, and as of today, 75% of all the IntelliApps that we have received are coming through on mobile devices. So just that alone, just giving drivers that mobile capability can make a world of difference. And tack on the pre-population of what this application can do, it's going to help increase those applications. Typically, when a carrier adopts this application and makes sure that they put it everywhere that they have a presence online, you can see upward to 3 to 4 times increase of your applications is where they are today. A large part of this is removing bottlenecks for the driver, making sure that when they are going through this application that there's no hiccups, anything that would keep them from completing the application. So like also Leah said, this is mobile first. So we designed this for phones. So this is what it looks like. So you take this IntelliApp link, you would put it on your website as apply now, you would put it in your job board ads. We also have some marketing solutions with the dashboard that makes it very easy to get that application link in those ads when you're advertising through something that we call Job Store once you adopt the full system. But we brand this IntelliApp for your company. So instead of seeing that Tenstreet logo that you see right there in the left-hand corner, that's going to be your company logo, your name, your address on the right side, and we can change those colors, the color theme, to match your logo. Down here, this is just telling the driver what they need to bring to the table to expedite the application. Easy enough so far. They hit next, and we can have a map on your application. Now, if you're hiring over the road, if you have, hiring in all 48 minus Alaska and Hawaii, then you might want to have a map here. If a driver hovers over the map, they can see the number of positions that are available in those different states. And then we can divide those positions out. They can be company drivers, owner-operator, whatever it may be. As you can see, you can put all your positions here, have your description, your requirements, and then as soon as they select the position, this is really where the magic kind of comes into play. So Tenstreet, we've been in the trucking industry. We're specific to the transportation industry, if you guys haven't figured that out yet. So everything that we do centers around the world of DOT compliance, but we've been a company for 13 years. And since then, we've collected a lot of data on these drivers. We've had 3.3 million drivers fill out this IntelliApp. So we have 3 key identifying factors that allow us to do this next part. It's name, social, date of birth, what I'm filling out right now. So when they put this information in, they're going to get a pop-up. And like Leah said, this happens about 2/3 of the time for the driver population out there. They're going to get this pop-up and it's going to ask them, hey, we found your previous application data. Do you want to go ahead and autofill the rest of this application? This is how we increase your applications. When a driver does this, all they have to do is say, hey, yes, I want to autofill my application. And now 83% of this application is done for the driver. All they have to do is scroll through and enter the missing pieces of this application. Typically takes them now about 6 to 7 minutes to get through a complete DOT compliant application. And again, this information is just coming from other IntelliApps. This is coming from a driver who's previously applied on an IntelliApp. So this kind of gets into the bells and whistles of Tenstreet. One thing that you have in your dashboard when you adopt it is texting, where you can do a type to text to those drivers. They can opt in right here to receive text messages from you. I'm just going to say no just to keep moving along. Now this section, these are your company questions. Anything you want to ask the driver, you can ask them right here. Now Tenstreet's very customizable and we want to match your workflow. So this is not a blanket solution. This is right here is anything that you guys want to ask the driver. So you kind of tell us, or you can use our standard set of questions. They can be drop downs, yes and no, fill in the blank. A very cool part of this that I like is you can score drivers based off their responses to these questions. You come up with scoring with an account manager once you get started with Tenstreet. So when these applications start hitting your system, you can see at a glance, okay, who do I want to start with? The guy with a score of 0 or the guy with a perfect score? Obviously, you probably want to hit that guy up with a score of 100%. Looks like he's a perfect fit. This part, their license information is going to autofill. Here's the biggest part of this application, is the previous employment section, where 95% of drivers typically fall off a DOT application. You'd think a lot of people would have these addresses, phone numbers, faxes, numbers, all saved. Generally, no, still. So this is a huge bottleneck. This is going to autofill, like the rest of the application. Now, we are the largest provider of employment verifications in the sector. Our exchange network comes with the core software solution that you guys adopt when you adopt the IntelliApp. So if a driver needs to add an employer to their application, as soon as they start typing the name, they're going to have some suggestions here. Now, there's over 3,000 network providers. If they find that carrier, they select the name, guess what? It's going to autofill the address for the driver. Now they don't have to look it up. This might seem minor, but honestly, this can keep a driver from giving you that application. So now all the driver has to do is put a start date, end date, and answer a few yes and no questions here at the bottom. And then you've gotten them past part as part of the application. Now, another thing that we want to make sure is that when we get past this part, one of the other big bottlenecks, and it slows down the hiring process, is drivers having date gaps in employment. Well, we make sure that there's 100% complete before they can continue. Now, as you can see, we set it for 3 years, because typically that's what carriers are checking for. They're checking for 3 years of employment history, but typically they want to see 10 years on the application. So we can set it for 10 years. Some carriers set it for 3 and then say, you know, if it doesn't autofill, we can collect the other 7 years a little later, just to make it easy on the driver to get through this application. But honestly, I have carriers that I sign up and they set it for 10 years and don't have a problem. I mean, if they put down 10 years of employment history on an IntelliApp before, then guess what? It's going to autofill if you set it for 10 years and they hit this point. So I say set it for 10. And if we do, and we can identify if drivers are where they're falling off this application, like what section. If we do find that it's a problem and they are falling off in this section, we can always adjust it, and there's no cost to you to make that change. If you ever need to add a custom question or make a change to the application, there's no charge to do that. We can make those changes. Here's your FMCSR section. Like your MVR section, we're going to ask these questions here. Traffic incidents and accidents are going to autofill if the drivers added this to their application. If they haven't, they can add something right here. But again, for time's sake, let's go ahead and get past this part. Now, criminal questions, felony questions. This is a huge compliance issue. There's ban-the-box legislation out there saying, hey, you can't ask criminal questions on an employment application. Now, this varies from state to state. I believe California is one of the states, though, that I would tell every time to remove these questions entirely. I'm pretty sure they're going to be under ban-the-box. So it's up to you. You know, we give you guys the tools, you kind of build the house. You know, we can give you the tools to help you guys be in compliance, but it's still up to you to make sure that you are in compliance. So you can leave these on there if you're not in a ban-the-box location. But here's kind of a nifty little fact. If the driver fills out this application and they put down a zip code or an address that does fall under that ban-the-box legislation, these actually proactively won't appear on their application. So it's kind of a behind-the-curtain compliance piece that we can't help with a little bit there. But if you are in a ban-the-box location, definitely take these off your application. So now the driver's done. You've got a clean, concise application. If you're still using paper applications, no chicken scratch, no determining a 0 from an 8 now. Driver just scrolls down, kind of reviewing it. And like Leah said, the DOT is looking for a 2-signature process. So this right here is just authentication of the application. I'm just doing this with a finger on my phone, which is completely DOT compliant. He's just saying everything on this application is true and correct. But what we also want to give you with this application are all the releases that you need to move forward with this driver. Drug and alcohol, employment verifications, your MVRs, PSP, whatever you're running on those drivers to process them, we're going to include those releases here at the end. And for the driver, they don't have to sign, you know, a multitude of releases. We're going to capture it all with one signature. So this is just per the FCRA. It's telling the driver we're going to be running background checks on you. So they're literally just selecting boxes. So Tenstreet, we are a direct conduit to the FMCSA website. So for those PSP reports, you can actually, once you get this application, click a button in your system and we'll send that PSP report over to you. You don't have to go to the FMCSA website. You don't have to log in, fill out the driver's information. We can send you. We charge $12 a report versus 10, which is, I believe, what they're charging today when you go to the website directly. But this is a free integration to have. You can tell us that you want to add it as part of your system, and you can choose to use it when you want. But if you're hiring a lot of drivers and you're ordering those PSP reports, I promise you this is a quick and easy solution for you just to click a button and get that report. And then we are not the background vendor. We don't actually provide the MVRs or background checks, but these are some of the leaders in the industry that we integrate with for you guys to be able to, just like the PSP report, click a button, get that MVR sent over into your dashboard under that driver's document section. So HireRight, IIX, and Assurant, these are all good background vendors, very familiar obviously with this industry, and they love us, we love them. When you talk to your advisor about moving forward with Tenstreet, if you need information on any of these companies, you can ask them and we can provide you with some emails and some phone numbers if you want to compare price per report from what you guys are doing today. So now the driver's done, they just marry the front and the back end of the application, same way it autofills. There's a lot of applications out there too that will have logins, passwords. You know, I forget my password every single day. I don't think I've ever logged into a place and not clicked forgot my password to get logged in again. So drivers, they're going to run across that same problem. But if they ever need to get back into this application, say make a correction on something, they can just, as long as they know their name, social, date of birth, then they're good to go. If they don't know those three things, I don't think you probably want to hire them. So now you've got everything that you need from this driver. And they're going to use one signature to sign off on all those releases. Now this is electronic, but if you print this application off, that signature is going to appear at the bottom of each release page. They go ahead and save, and you're good to go. So now you have this application, hit your dashboard, you can contact that driver. You don't need to have them sign anything else to start ordering his MBR, PSP, whatever you guys need from that driver. Now, they'll have a confirmation number. Down here, you guys can embed a video or a message from the CEO on your application. But this right up here is, do you want to track your application in real time? Now, we're not going to get into the weeds on this one today, but just know that when you adopt Tenstreet, you're also going to be adopting a driver pulse app. That's an app that we developed for phones for drivers to download to connect carriers and drivers. It's free to download. You can download it today, log in as a guest, and play around with it. Again, it's called Driver Pulse, like a heartbeat pulse by Tenstreet, and you can log in and play around with it. But if a driver wants to see where they are in your hiring process, you can provide some transparency for that driver, and you know, basically where another carrier isn't at all. So this is, you have the on and off switches when it comes to what you want to share with a driver on Pulse. But if they click yes right here, it's going to open up the Pulse app if they already have it on their phone. If they don't, it's going to prompt them to download it. But like I said, it is free to download. It's a great way to using this app to collect documents that you need from drivers instead of having them fax or drop something off, or, you know, least likely situation, find a desktop computer, scan it, save it, you know, and then email it out to you. This way, now they can just snap pictures of that document, save it, and it's going to shoot right into your dashboard along with the other documents that you've collected for that driver. So again, when you guys are ready to explore Tenstreet with an advisor like myself over here, they can definitely take you through Driver Pulse and show you all the great things that Driver Pulse can do, and help you guys streamline those processes of getting that driver hired. So I'm going to give it back to Leah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Adam. So, but I just want, at this point, really all I had, the remaining part of my PowerPoint was just to talk to you and see if you had any questions. Just get your questions coming in here for us. If you have anything over any of the features and services that we provide for the, you know, the auto population, mobile first, dual signature, any of the releases, any questions that you might have at this point. Do drivers download Pulse app or IntelliApp on their phone? So they would download the Pulse app so that they can track their application at whichever carriers that they've applied to. So that would be an application that a driver would have on his phone that just helps him manage his career and he can tell easily where he's at in the application process. And the IntelliApp is individual to each carrier, so he wouldn't be able to download that, though he can actually search for carriers and apply directly through the Pulse app. Their IntelliApp is linked through there if you are actually a carrier on the Pulse app. If that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the only thing I would add to that is drivers, there is a job search on the Driver Pulse, and when you do sign up at Tenstreet, they can find you on there, and your IntelliApp will be on there, and they can apply. But like Lee was saying, if you have your application link, once you get started, you put it everywhere. The driver's not having to download an app to apply to your company. All they have to do is just click on the application. It's going to be branded toward your company, and they'll just go ahead and apply.
Okay, and the next question we have, what is the easiest way to get a driver to re-sign his application after an update or change to the application has taken place? Go ahead.
Yeah, so we do have a tool, we call it Confirmation IntelliApp, that carriers can choose to adopt. You can always have a driver, if you see something incorrect and they need to change something and then re-sign it, you can direct them back to the application link and they can do it themselves. Or you, the carrier, can have that tool, Confirmation IntelliApp, where when you get one of these applications, it comes into your system, there would be an update button, and you can actually make the correction yourself for the driver. Then once you save it, you just email the application back to the driver. It would be a read-only version, and they can review and sign off on that application. So you're taking the onus off them, and you are able to make the correction yourself.
Right, and it's just a process you would run on your dashboard that says send this driver a Confirmation IntelliApp. They receive it as an email, and then they can confirm or deny the changes that you made. It only shows them the screens that have the changes that you made, so it's a really quick review process for the driver, and then once he confirms, it's back into your dashboard.
And I'm, just one more thing, I just wanted to let you know, there's a lot of different tools that you can add surrounding the IntelliApp. One thing that we can also do is send you partial applications. So whether that application autofills or not and the driver still stops it, or it doesn't autofill, we can still send you every partial application. So anytime a driver hits it, fills out any piece of it, we can send that to you.
Good times. He's talking there about the continuation IntelliApp, which I didn't get to, but I will get to it, whenever I recreate the first half of this presentation. That just lets you get to drivers who just complete the first page and then walk away. Okay, will we be notified of any drivers who initiated the process but chose not to complete for some reason or another, and would we be provided contact information for potential follow-up? Well, that's what we just answered.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was, again, that's going to be a continuation IntelliApp. It gives recruiters an opportunity to reach out to the drivers and re-engage them so they can pick up where they left off. And you can add some automation to that by just adding on a drip campaign that will, if you want to free up some of your recruiting resources, and it will email those partial app drivers with a series of marketing email or text so that they can complete the application. You can still reach out to them. Is the Confirmation IntelliApp an added cost, or is it available to the employer?
So the Confirmation IntelliApp is an additional tool that you can either adopt when you sign up with Tenstreet, or you can choose to adopt it later. Really the best thing is to talk to an advisor about cost when you are initially starting with Tenstreet. But typically, yes, there would be an additional cost to add Confirmation IntelliApp to the system.
Okay, this question is talking about the Tenstreet mobile app for Apple. We also have it for Android, and it's just a mobile app of your Express dashboard, basically. It doesn't have all the functionality, but it has a lot of it in there, and we're always adding to it. We're actually going to make an effort to improve it in the near future. But it's very simple to download. You would just go to the Apple iTunes Store or the Google Play Store, search for Tenstreet mobile.
Yeah,
Tenstreet dashboard.
I believe it's Dashboard by Tenstreet, and you can download that mobile app. And there is a tool called IntelliApp Now that you can adopt, where it will alert you if you have that app on your phone or if you're in your system of any time you guys get an application. A large part of this is speed to hire. Typically that driver's probably applied to 3 different carriers. And we ran some numbers at our user conference last year that basically said that, hey, if you catch a driver in the first 5 minutes of them completing that application, you have about a 75% chance of moving forward with them. As soon as it hits about an hour, that number drops down to about a 20% chance of you moving forward with them. So there's a tool called IntelliApp Now that will alert you anytime an application hits your system. And if you want to send a quick message to that driver, or if you have another system in place for you to get in contact with them to make sure that they know that you got that application, there are tools to help you jump on those applications as soon as possible.
Yeah, and if you do want to go, if you don't want to search the Play Store or the iTunes Store, you can go to our website, and under our one of the tabs is called Drivers. You can actually download it from there. So that's the Pulse app. I'm sorry, but you can also download the Tenstreet Express mobile app from the website too. And we're waiting for anyone else have any questions. We're just going through these one last time.
So we got another question here, and this is a loaded one. I like it. How often do you survey the driver universe for competitive variables affecting decision psychology and share that data with the client? There is a tool that we have called IntelliApp Statistics, and it's basically, we can add it to your dashboard. It's going to tell you what kind of applications are they filling out, because you can change your IntelliApp also into a lead form by just changing a little bit of code in the URL. And then we can also source your IntelliApps as well. So we can tell you, hey, did this come from your website? Did it come from you emailing out the application link? So we can really give you a lot of data surrounding who's filling out this application, where are they falling off the application, are they filling it out from iOS and Android, are they using what kind of browser are they using? So we can definitely share how are they filling out your application. And then there's a lot of reporting in Tenstreet. We have a tool called Report Wizard that you can add. We have reports that are already built, but Report Wizard allows you to build your own reports. So if you guys wanted to, really, if the data is in the system, then we can probably run a report on it, and we have account managers here to help you guys build those reports if you want to go down that route. But there is a tool, again, IntelliApp Statistics, that gives you a lot of information on who's filling out your application, including a real-time view right then and there. No matter where they are on the web filling out that application, it can tell you, hey, this person's on your application right now. You can actually click on them and reach out to them even before they finish an application, or if you want to encourage them as they're moving through the application.
Yeah, great. That's another one we'll touch on too when you get the record version a little bit. But great question, great answer. All righty. We are about 40 minutes in, so if we don't have any further questions, we're going to let you guys go, but we do thank you so much for your time. Again, we know that you're really, really busy, so we appreciate you jumping on here and listening to us and talking with us. Have a great day, enjoy your weekend, and we will talk to you soon.
Have a great one, guys.
Thanks.